Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The alien woman teased the man. Then the alien woman's mother stopped her and said, "He's your father." The morning began the way most Tuesdays in Brooklyn do, with a suspiciously damp fire hydrant and a man trying to reason with a sentient parking meter. Jack Hollis, 34, systems engineer, caffeine addict, and unrepentant collector of vintage robot toys, leaned against his dented Honda Civic and rubbed his eyes. The parking meter blinked unpaid in a tone that somehow sounded smug. "I gave you 3 credits and a Metro coin," Jack muttered. The meter chirped, "Insufficient charm detected. Try flirting again." Jack sighed and reached into his coat for another coin, pausing when the sky hiccuped. Not thunder, not even a proper sonic boom. It was more like a hiccup, a soft, stuttering pop followed by the faint scent of melted jelly beans and ozone. Then something slammed into the back of his car hard enough to send his coffee cup airborne. It landed on his shoe. The cup exploded. He said words that made pigeons gasp. Behind him, hovering 6 inches above the street in a shimmering cloud of light and irrational geometry, was what could only be described as a taco truck having an identity crisis. The signage flickered between Zara's galactic bites and totally not an alien vessel, finally settling on a neon taco shaped like Saturn. The door opened, and out stepped a woman. She looked almost human, though the effect was slightly undone by the long, tapering ears that twitched independently like antennae searching for satellite signals. Her eyes were violet, too bright to be contacts, and she wore what appeared to be a bathrobe made of starlight and sarcasm. "Oopsie," she said, surveying the damage to Jack's trunk. "Parallel parking is harder when your ship is calibrated for gravitational slipstreams and not this." She gestured vaguely at Earth like it was an unsatisfactory discount store. Jack blinked. "You just crashed into my car," she smiled. "Technically, your car crashed into the empty space I was about to occupy. Temporal cause and effect is fuzzy. My lawyer's a time baby. He'll back me up." Jack opened his mouth, closed it, considered walking away. Instead, he reached into the glove box, pulled out a roll of duct tape, and began slapping it onto his taillight. The woman watched him with delight. "Wow, you're handling this so well. Not even a single scream. I'm saving it for therapy." She extended a hand. "Zara, just Zara. Definitely not here to probe you, unless you ask nicely." Jack shook it, mostly out of shock. "Jack, also just Jack, and please leave my probing schedule out of this," she snorted. "Cute. Okay, Jack, just Jack. Question for you. How attached are you to your genetic history?" He stopped taping. "That's a weird thing to ask before lunch." Zara paced, arms folded behind her back. "Well, let's say there was a chance, hypothetically, that you weren't quite as domestically manufactured as you've been led to believe." "I was adopted." Her ears perked. "Oh, that makes this so much more interesting. Ever wonder why your baby pictures always have that weird glow? Or why you sneeze around magnets?" Jack paused. "Wait, how do you know I? Do you really want the answer?" "No." "Excellent. Then let's continue not questioning things." She spun in a circle, her robe shimmering through constellations. "You, my dear Jack, are on the cusp of a delightful identity crisis, and I'm here to accelerate it." Jack crossed his arms. "Do all aliens announce existential disasters with that much enthusiasm?" "No," she said, grinning. "Only the fun ones." Something in the air shifted. The sky above dimmed slightly, not from clouds but from something deeper, as if a massive ship just blinked into the upper atmosphere with a soundless, cold sigh. Zara's smile faltered for half a second. Jack noticed. "Friend of yours?" Not exactly. More like supervisor." From the shimmering light above, a beam of golden particles descended and formed into a woman far taller than anyone had the right to be. Her gown flowed like solar winds, and her voice carried the weight of several millennia of lectures. "Zara." Zara straightened like a schoolgirl caught rewiring the principal's hoverbike. "Hi, Mother." Jack raised an eyebrow. "Mother?" The woman looked at Jack with eyes that bore into atoms. "So this is him." Jack stepped back. "I didn't mean to park illegally." "You didn't." Her voice could have cracked glaciers. "You merely exist. That is the problem." Jack looked at Zara. "Your mom's really into dramatic tension." Zara winced. "You have no idea." The woman approached, her expression unreadable. "You think she teased you for fun? You think this was just a joke, a flirtation?" Zara muttered. "To be fair, I was kind of enjoying myself." The woman's eyes glowed faintly. "Silence, child." She turned to Jack. The air grew still. You are not who you believe you are. You never have been. Jack rolled his eyes. You're gonna tell me I'm part of some ancient prophecy, aren't you? That I have a destiny? That I'm the chosen one? Because if so, I've heard it. I've seen those movies. I get the robe, the powers, and then I die dramatically in the third act. Zara cleared her throat. Actually, it's kind of worse. The woman nodded. He is your father. Jack stared at her, then at Zara, then back at her. Zara grimaced. Surprise? Jack blinked twice. I'm what? Zara made a sound somewhere between a laugh and a groan. You're technically not my biological father. It's complicated. Chronogenetic drift, experimental science, a poorly worded contract. But yeah, welcome to the family. Jack turned back toward the parking meter and put a coin in. If you've got a forget function, now would be a great time. The meter blinked. Memory deletion is a premium feature. Please upgrade your plan. Jack sighed. Figures. Jack sat on a couch made of levitating cushions that shifted positions every time he tried to get comfortable. It was like being massaged by confused ghosts. Across from him, Zara lounged on what appeared to be a recliner built from chrome tentacles, sipping something blue that hummed and occasionally blinked. So, just to clarify, Jack said, steadying himself as a cushion tried to sneak under his armpit, you're telling me I'm a time-anchored cross-species genetic experiment? And also your dad? Zara nodded, tossing a slice of something gelatinous into her mouth. It squawked faintly. Yup, not emotionally though. Don't get weird. Biologically? Ish. Temporally? Definitely. Legally? The Galactic Senate's still debating. Jack ran a hand down his face. I was just trying to get to work. Fix a faulty satellite relay. Now I'm the accidental father of an alien woman with a sarcasm addiction in a taco truck from the fourth dimension. Zara smirked. Technically, the truck's fifth dimensional. I downgraded it to make it street legal on Earth. You're welcome. He blinked at her. I have so many questions. She leaned forward. Then buckle in, Pop. I've got answers, lies, half-truths, and one slideshow that makes everyone cry. Jack squinted. Wait, do I want to cry? Statistically, 73% of recipients do. The other 27% explode, but I'm confident you'll fall in the first category. He made a mental note to never ask about those statistics again. Fine, show me. The room dimmed. The recliner tentacles reached up and pulled down a projection screen from a slot in the ceiling. A floating orb with a monocle and a very tiny top hat hovered into view, cleared its non-existent throat, and began. Welcome, it intoned in a posh accent, to your heritage. Please refrain from screaming during the following presentation. The screen flared to life with a montage of stars, DNA strands, and what looked suspiciously like space dolphins doing synchronized swimming. Approximately 40 Earth years ago, the orb said, a Varelian science faction initiated Project Genesis Twist, a bold attempt to merge human and Varelian biology, splicing temporal resonance traits with emotional dampening genes. Wait, Jack interrupted. Emotional dampening? Zara elbowed him. They were trying to breed chill people, okay? Galactic politics were a mess, everyone was shouting. Due to various unforeseen factors, the orb continued, including planetary bureaucracy, interstellar ethics violations, and a regrettable incident involving a karaoke contest, the child, designated Unit JXK, was placed in stasis and deposited on Earth, his genetic memory wiped for safety. Which explains why I remember growing up in a cul-de-sac in Jersey and being terrified of vacuum cleaners. They are noisy void beasts, Zara muttered. You were a smart kid. The orb flickered. End of presentation. Would you like to hear the post-credits moral lesson? No, Jack said. Yes, Zara said. The orb beamed. Family is not who creates you, it's who teases you until you scream. Zara gave Jack a thumbs up. Told you. Makes you cry. Crying on the inside. The orb drifted away with a polite bow. The lights returned. Jack stared at Zara. So what now, he asked. Do we hug? Go to therapy? Write an awkward sitcom together? Well, Zara said, there's this one teensy problem. Your reactivated genetic signature triggered a few alerts, one of which pinged the Galactic Department of Relics and Forgotten Mistakes. That's not a real thing. It is. Their motto is, oops, let's fix it before it eats a moon. And now they're very interested in you. Jack groaned. Of course they are. Which is why, Zara continued, grinning, we're going on a little trip. To where? She slapped a button on the wall. A hole opened in the floor beneath Jack. He yelped and vanished. He landed on a padded surface, in what appeared to be a room built entirely out of antique VHS tapes and illuminated by lava lamps. A small robot zoomed by, offering him a snack labeled Space Bacon, probably safe. Zara dropped in beside him. "Welcome to my ship. I named it Regret. It's faster than guilt and twice as loud." Jack sat up, brushing off imaginary dignity. "You pushed me through a floor trap. You were stalling. And also, it's fun." He looked around. "This place looks like a teenage alien built it while watching 80s movies." "Close. I was a teenage alien watching 80s movies when I built it. I'm very impressionable." The ship rumbled beneath them. A smooth, confident voice spoke from the ceiling. "Welcome aboard, Captain Zara. The engines are fully calibrated. And hello, potential parental unit Jack. I've downloaded several awkward icebreaker games to assist your bonding." "Hard pass," Jack said. "Request log, playing Get to Know Your Clone instead." Zara clapped. "Ooh, this one's spicy." "No, yes." The ship jolted forward, bursting into the glide path between dimensions. Outside the windows, time shimmered like stretched taffy, and entire nebula wobbled like gelatin desserts at a rave. "Where are we going?" Jack asked, clutching a cup of anti-nausea tea that kept changing color. "To retrieve the truth beacon," Zara said, kicking back into a chair that adjusted to her favorite lounging angle. "It's the only device that can confirm your origin story without question. Problem is, I left it in an asteroid market." Jack sipped cautiously. "Let me guess. The market is full of bounty hunters, con artists, and telepathic mollusks?" "Don't be ridiculous." She grinned. "The bounty hunters left last week." The robot zoomed by again. "Incoming transmission from the matron." Zara groaned. "Ugh, Mom's checking in." The screen lit up. Lady Nixara appeared, majestic as ever, with a scowl that could sterilize solar systems. "Zara, are you corrupting the timeline again?" "No, Mom, we're just bonding." Nixara narrowed her eyes. "He is not a pet, Zara. He's part of an unstable biothread linked to a dozen treaties. If anyone traces him..." "Too late," Jack muttered. "Pretty sure my nose just got hacked." Zara beamed. "We'll be careful." Nixara sighed. "You say that like it's ever true. Fine, retrieve the beacon, and for the love of the stars, do not let him eat anything that glows." The feed cut. Jack looked at Zara. "Is glowing food a real danger?" She popped a cube into her mouth that pulsed neon green. "Only if it sings." It began humming a lullaby in E-flat. Jack stared. "I hate everything about this." Jack held onto the edge of the vibrating console while Regret shimmied violently through a corridor of swirling debris that looked suspiciously like rainbow-colored popcorn kernels. One of them thudded against the window and exploded in a puff of confetti. "Is the asteroid market always located inside an interdimensional snack storm?" he asked, ducking as a popcorn comet screamed. Zara tapped at a holographic control pad while balancing a bowl of some gelatinous snack in her lap. "Nah, just on Thursdays. Tuesday through Wednesday, it orbits a dead star that smells like licorice." A light above them flickered and groaned, then exploded. "That's the sarcasm detector," the ship's voice said calmly. It finally gave up. Zara grinned and threw a piece of food at Jack. It bounced off his shoulder and tried to crawl into his ear. "No," he said, flicking it away. "Whatever that is, it needs a leash." They docked with a hiss and a creak that sounded like a sigh from a deeply tired space whale. The airlock hissed open, revealing the interior of the asteroid market, a sprawling, tangled bazaar lit by glowing lanterns, flickering signs in a dozen languages, and one floating cow in a containment orb playing elevator music on a loop. Jack squinted at it. "Is that cow humming?" "Yup," Zara said cheerfully. "Don't stare too long. He thinks it's a battle of wills." The cow's eyes glowed briefly. Jack looked away. The market was crowded, loud, and somehow both freezing and muggy. A merchant with 3 noses tried to sell Jack an emotional support planet. "It cries when you're sad," the merchant said. "No thanks," Jack muttered. "I already do that." Zara tugged him through the chaos, weaving past stalls selling portable wormholes, anti-gravity socks, and existential dread in small cans. Jack paused near one labeled Limited Edition Midlife Crisis. Zara snatched his arm. "No, you're not ready for that one yet." They stopped in front of a stall made of bones, velvet, and at least 3 mirrors that didn't reflect the correct angle. Behind it sat an elderly woman with glowing hair and fingers made entirely of keys. "Maelza," Zara said, leaning on the counter. "Long time no metaphysical dispute." Zara, Melza rasped, her voice like sandpaper dipped in honey. I thought you died in that supernova. Nah, Zara shrugged. I took a nap. Melza turned her shimmering eyes to Jack. So this is the anomaly. I prefer victim of galactic paperwork, Jack said. Also maybe her dad, depending on which science you believe. Melza tapped a series of keys on her fingers. A drawer opened behind her with a soft moan. She pulled out a metal orb no bigger than a grapefruit. It pulsed gently, gold and warm. The truth beacon, she said. One question, one answer. No lies, no refunds. Jack reached out. Zara grabbed his wrist. Wait, you don't want to use it here. Jack blinked. Why not? Because the moment this thing activates, every ancient organization, bounty hunter, time priest, and grudge-holding X across 16 galaxies is going to know exactly where we are. Melza nodded. She's right. Use it and the universe pays attention. And it's a very nosy universe. Jack sighed. Then what, we buy it and sneak out? Zara grinned. Even better. She slapped a glowing cube onto the counter. It chirped. A puff of glitter shot upward. A foghorn sounded. Then a small voice whispered, Congratulations, you've overpaid. Jack stared at it. What was that? Galactic currency, Zara said. But fancy, it's like buying a coffee with a diamond wrapped in a song. They left quickly, the orb sealed in a black casing that hummed faintly. Back on the ship, Jack cradled it in his hands like it might explode. Now what? He asked. We hide, Zara said, slamming a lever labeled Discretion Please. The ship shuddered and flipped into cloak mode with a noise like a sneezing dragon. They drifted through space, parked in a pocket dimension that looked like an abandoned mall and smelled like forgotten pizza. Zara set the orb between them on the console. So, big question time. Jack took a breath. Who am I? The orb pulsed, then projected a figure made of light. Familiar, tall, vaguely disappointed. It was Lady Nyxera. You were created as a failsafe, the recording began. When the Varelian High Spire foresaw the collapse of the Unity Accord, they engineered a being capable of bridging worlds. Human compassion, Varelian cognition, and temporal adaptability. You, Jack, were that being. But the Accord collapsed faster than expected. Your activation was postponed. Memories suppressed. You were sent to Earth to wait. The image flickered. Zara was designed after. You share strands. You are not her father in the biological sense, but your creation laid the foundation for hers. Zara frowned. So, he's like the prequel to me? I'm your spiritual pilot episode, Jack muttered. Your purpose, the recording continued, was never to rule or destroy. It was to understand, to unify. But now that you've reawakened, others will come. Some to worship, some to erase. The image faded. The orb cracked. Jack stared at it. That was not as comforting as I hoped. Zara nodded. Yeah, she has a weird way of showing affection. She once gave me a lava monster for my birthday. It kept eating the cake. Jack leaned back. So I'm basically space glue, more like cosmic duct tape, he sighed. Great, I was just getting used to being a nobody. The ship jolted. Alarms whooped. Uncloaking signal detected, the voice said. Several vessels inbound, definitely not friendly. Zara bolted to the controls. Looks like the Erase faction showed up first. Jack grabbed a console. Any bright ideas? We could surrender. Any useful ideas? Zara grinned. Yeah, hold on to something. I'm about to test the Warp New Personality module. The ship lit up. A soft voice whispered, I was born to run. They vanished in a streak of light, leaving behind a confused bounty squad, one sulking cow, and a half-eaten can of existential dread. Okay, Jack said, gripping the armrest of his chair as the stars outside twisted like wet spaghetti. You didn't mention the warp drive screams. Zara typed furiously on a console that didn't seem to have any actual buttons. Just glowing runes that sometimes hissed at her. Yeah, I disabled the sound limiter to give it more personality. Pretty sure it's going through something right now. The ship bucked again, and a voice boomed from the walls. I am the echo of the unborn future. Also, I need a nap. Jack blinked. Is this normal? For a ship with an experimental sentience core that absorbed 6 philosophy textbooks and 1 pop album? Yeah. A klaxon wailed. A robotic voice chimed in with, Warning, mood instability detected in warp core. Administer warm blanket and emotional validation. Zara rolled her eyes. This is why we don't let it read Earth poetry unsupervised. Jack looked out the window as they dropped from warp into an expanse of space that looked suspiciously empty. So where exactly did we go? Zara snapped her fingers, summoning a star chart. We're parked in the blinking pocket. No known star systems, no habitable planets, and nothing that tastes like chicken for 100 light years. It's the perfect place to lie low. Right, empty space, super relaxing, Jack muttered. You know, for someone with an intergalactic bullseye painted on his DNA. Zara nudged him. Cheer up, you've got me, a spaceship with identity issues, and an emotionally fragile tea dispenser. That's basically family. The dispenser beeped. Your chamomile has doubts about existence. Jack took the cup anyway. Perfect. The moment of semi-peace was interrupted by the sudden arrival of an object on the radar, small, fast, and approaching at an unreasonable angle. The ship's lights flickered. The unidentified vessel on intercept course, the AI announced, now sounding like it had just discovered conspiracy theories and wasn't okay. Possibly hostile, possibly lonely, possibly a giant moth. Jack sipped his tea. So, business as usual. Zara tightened her grip on the controls, engaging evasive maneuvers. The ship spun sideways and dove into a patch of distorted space. Time stuttered. Jack's tea hovered midair for a full second before slapping him in the face. The vessel caught up, a sleek silver dart with a hull covered in glyphs that shimmered like gossip. It latched on to regret with a magnetized tether. We're being boarded, the ship said, now trying to sound brave and failing. I suggest emotionally detaching. Jack grabbed a wrench. Zara grabbed something that looked like a squirt gun but emitted light in 11 colors. The boarding ramp hissed. Steam poured in. A figure emerged, tall, cloaked, and dramatically silhouetted. Zara groaned. Oh, stars, I know that posture. The figure removed her hood. A second Zara stood there, identical but with slicked back hair, a scar above her eyebrow, and goggles on her forehead. Hello, me, she said. Jack looked between them. Oh, good, the universe just gave me 2 of you. Zara Prime narrowed her eyes. What are you doing here, Echo? Echo tilted her head. Cleaning up your mess, obviously. Jack held up a hand. Hi, still catching up. Are you evil twin, future clone, or what? I'm her what if, Echo replied, walking inside like she owned the place. What if Zara took things seriously? What if Zara followed protocol? What if Zara didn't crash a diplomacy drone into a wedding? Zara grinned. Okay, but that drone caught the bouquet. Echo turned to Jack. You're the anomaly. Do you even know what you are? Not entirely, Jack admitted. Apparently I'm some kind of cross-species biobridge who missed his calling as galactic glue. Echo pointed at the cracked truth beacon. That was supposed to remain sealed. Do you realize what happens when an unverified pretemporal construct activates legacy code? Jack blinked. Legacy code? Zara sighed. She's talking about the ancient fail-safe programming embedded in you. If it's triggered, half the galaxy might think you're the Messiah. Jack spit out his tea. Wait, Messiah? Echo nodded grimly. Or Destroyer. The beacon's not precise. It woke up signals that haven't pinged in millennia. There are factions, whole planets now watching, and some of them have big feelings. Jack sat down. I don't want anyone worshipping me, or destroying me, or mailing me space fruit. It's already happening, Echo said, tapping her gauntlet. A hologram flickered up. Headlines in alien languages, chants in orbit, a planet shaped like Jack's head made of pudding. You've gone viral. Zara peered at the pudding. They even got your eyebrows right. Jack groaned. So what do we do? Echo crossed her arms. We need to shut you down. Define shut down. Lock your core resonance frequency. Erase all traces of activation. Make you invisible again. It's the only way. Zara stepped in front of him. No way. You're not scrambling his brain just because the galaxy can't handle a mystery. Echo's expression was unreadable. You're protecting him. How? Unlike you. Zara shrugged. I've grown. Also, he gives great hugs. Jack raised an eyebrow. You've never hugged me. Exactly, that's how rare it is. The lights dimmed. A klaxon whooped again. Incoming signal, the AI said, from the matron. Lady Nixara's image filled the room. Her eyes were twin stars, her voice calm as thunder under velvet. Zara, Echo, Jack, you have attracted the attention of the Pantheon Protocol. They are mobilizing. You must act. Jack stood. Act how? Nixara met his eyes. Your nature is a riddle to them, a threat to control. If you run, they will follow. If you stand, they may fear. But if you choose wisely, they may listen. Zara whispered, She always does this. Answers questions with riddles and poetic metaphors. She once told me how to cook noodles using only starlight and patience. Nixara's gaze turned sharp. You have 6 hours. Decide. The transmission ended. Echo looked at Jack. There's a place, the still point, temporal vacuum. No signals, no gods, no history. We hide you there. No one ever finds you. Jack looked at Zara. And the other option? We stand on a beacon platform, she said. And you announce yourself to the galaxy. Not as Messiah, not as destroyer. Just you. The universe gets to see who you are before they decide what to do about it. Jack exhaled. Both options sound terrible. Welcome to parenthood, Zara said. Now choose. The beacon platform hovered at the edge of an unstable star, anchored in place by gravitic threads older than mathematics. It shimmered like a mirage in the void, a ring of floating disks inscribed with languages too old to be dead. Around it, the stars watched in silence, save for one that blinked twice, which the ship claimed was a friendly wink. Probably gas. Jack stood at the platform's center, the beacon core nestled in his palms, his boots magnetized to the ancient metal beneath him. The console in front of him pulsed, inviting him to speak, or run, or pretend he was just the janitor. Zara paced behind him, checking settings on a device that looked like a toaster. Married a battle helmet. Once you activate, we'll have about 90 seconds before every long-range ear in the quadrant tunes in, including the ones that shout before listening. Jack glanced at her. So we're going with the shout-first crowd today. Great. Echo stood to the side, arms folded, eyes on the sky. Her presence had grown colder, more focused. Since agreeing not to erase Jack's consciousness, she had been the picture of reluctant teamwork. Occasionally sarcastic, always mildly threatening. Family, basically. I still think hiding in the still point was the safer option, Echo said. But I suppose if you're going to light yourself on fire, might as well make it a bonfire. Jack looked down at the orb. I spent most of my life not knowing who I was. Now I do, sort of. Enough to scare some people, inspire others. But the truth is, I'm not a weapon or a god. I'm just a guy with unfortunate eyebrows and a talent for getting kidnapped. Zara smiled. That's practically a resume. The console beeped once. Time to speak. Jack stepped forward, tapped the panel. The beacon bloomed with light. Across starships, outposts, temples, rebel bunkers, and corporate lounges, his face appeared. Every screen, every audio stream, every telepathic node flickered to him. Hi, he said. I know, not the grand speech you expected, but I figure if you're expecting some galaxy-saving legend with lasers for eyes and a cape made of history, well, wrong guy. He took a breath. My name's Jack. I was built to be a bridge between species, between cultures, between what was and what could be. That's heavy. I didn't ask for it, didn't know I was it. But now that I do, I've decided I'm not going to run from it or pretend it's not real. I'm not here to lead you. I'm not here to destroy you. I'm here to remind you that none of us, human, Varelian, gelatin-based, exist alone. Zara gave him a thumbs up. Echo looked, vaguely less judgmental. Jack continued. If I'm a bridge, it means someone has to walk across it. So if you're watching this and you're angry or scared or curious, good, that means you're still thinking, still deciding. Don't make me your symbol. Make me your reason to ask better questions. The broadcast ended. The beacon dimmed. Silence flooded in. Jack turned to the others. So was that inspiring? Or do I owe the galaxy an apology fruit basket? Zara grinned. Honestly, you managed to sound smart without quoting fortune cookies. That's growth. Echo looked at him with a faint nod. You're still a potential existential risk, but at least now you're polite about it. Then came the second silence. The kind that stretches for too long and tastes like anticipation. The stars didn't blink, the comms were quiet. Even the AI whispered, did we break the universe? But something shifted. A ping. Then another. Then hundreds. Ships requesting contact. Messages in 1,000 tongues. Questions. Curiosity, not missiles. Jack looked at the others. Did we just win? Zara shrugged. Let's call it a draw with excellent potential. The ship's AI chimed in. Also, someone sent cupcakes, emotionally stabilized ones. Back aboard Regret, the crew gathered around a table that may once have been a cryopod. Jack leaned back, watching the stars slide by. So what now? He asked. Zara tossed a grape into her mouth. Now we tour the galaxy, fix a few diplomatic disasters, maybe open a space bakery. I've always wanted to bake muffins in zero gravity. Echo raised an eyebrow. You don't know how to bake. Zara winked. Details. Jack smiled, leaning his head back. He felt different. Not powerful. Not chosen. Just ready. For the first time, he wasn't searching for who he was. He knew, and that knowledge didn't cage him. It freed him. He was Jack, the anomaly, the bridge, and now, maybe, the beginning of something better. Outside the viewport, the universe didn't change, but it felt like, and somewhere deep in the black, a cow hummed a hopeful tune. The end.